First things first, in Chicago, rookie stud Justin Fields has looked the part in the preseason. Are the Bears making a big mistake not starting him? Speaking of rookies, did Trey Lance take the lead over Jimmy G in the Niners' ongoing QB? And you're not going to want to miss this. Our guy Nick going to unveil his top 10 NFL players this season. Coming up a little bit later on the show. I wonder where Patrick Mahomes will be. Probably third, maybe even fourth. And with that, we say good Monday morning, everyone. Welcome to First Things First. She said sarcastically, it is good to be back. It is even better to have you guys back with us. I have missed you. Jenna Wolf, Nick Wright, Kevin Wilds. Coach Eric Mangini with the rare early Monday morning appearance. I like it. We are worthy of his early Monday morning. Nick, how was your time off, buddy?
Yeah. Time off, wasn't off. Always working, Jenna. Do you know how long this top 10 list takes? It's 80 hours in the lab to get this perfect. That coming up in 29 minutes. Let's go. Let's go.
I love it. We are here, and we have a fantastic show for you today, and we are going to start this morning in Dallas talking some Dak Prescott. The Cowboys quarterback reportedly remains on track to play in the regular season opener 17 days from today down in Tampa. It was Jerry Jones evaluating Dak's throwing before the preseason game on Saturday. Take a listen.
I thought he threw with authority. He threw with confidence before the game. If we were lining up against Tampa tonight, he'd be starting, and we'd feel great about it. Dak has had so much work in his career. Really think about it. He's had a lot of snaps. And so let's don't get too bent out of shape because we aren't getting some time in these preseason games. I understand everybody's concerned, but if we were playing tonight and against Tampa, he would be out there starting. And the longer and the more rest that we can give this other, then the more we've stored up. As the squirrel in winter, we've scored the nuts up in the tree for future time over these next 17 games and when we play our regular season games.
But hang on, because on Friday night, despite that, Adam Schefter dropping this little nugget regarding Dak's status. He said Dak is, quote, not fully back. He may not be back all season long. So, Nick, should Cowboys fans feel encouraged or discouraged about Dak?
No, they should obviously be discouraged. And Jerry Jones, as folksy as he wants to be, understands that quarterback reps are not like nuts that a squirrel saves up for winter that you have to then worry, it's going to be February, I'm not going to have any left. Darn it, shouldn't have played in the preseason. No, you'd like Dak Prescott out there getting snaps coming even though Dak Prescott does have a massive amount of experience, he has no experience coming off that injury from last year, and no experience dealing with this very odd under the shoulder, almost in the armpit area shoulder injury that I think is reasonable to say might be related to the ankle injury. Your footwork changes a bit, your mechanics change a bit, all of a sudden you tweak something. And if you're a Cowboys fan, you gotta feel like, man, it's always something. In 2015, Romo got hurt. In 2016, Romo gets hurt, but you end up with Dak and it ends up being fine. 2017, Zeke's suspension loomed over the whole season. 2018, it's like, wait, what did we forget? Oh, we don't have any wide receivers. We have to panic midseason, go get Amari Cooper. Last year, Dak obviously gets hurt. You'd like to go into a year feeling clean and healthy, and I don't think you can, Coach, no matter what Jerry Jones says. So I think they should be discouraged and concerned because the only path to the Cowboys being a very good team is through the right arm of Dak Prescott. And we haven't gotten to see him use that in almost a year now.
Yeah, Nick, maybe you could help me. Before I came on, I was looking up words that meant both disappointed and excited at the same time, because that's what Cowboys fans are when it comes to to Dak Prescott. I came up with tragicomic and bittersweet, and I'd say those are not bad, but I hope you can give me a different one. But you look at this, you sign your franchise quarterback to a $160 million contract, so you're excited. And then you realize that in the last 4 years, he's only been 5 games over 500, so then you're disappointed. He comes back from a terrible injury, and he's practicing. You're excited. Then he gets that shoulder injury. You're disappointed. Now they say he's probably going to play. You're excited. And now they say he's probably going to have the injury through the whole season. You're disappointed. And it's this constant roller coaster ride that you're trying to get off of with Dak. And I think the good news to the Cowboys is that there is plenty of time still before the start of the season. And the fact that he threw supposedly 50 passes in the prior to the preseason game means that he can deal with some volume. He's probably not going to throw 50 passes very many times. But going back to your point about coming back from this injury, that takes time too. And the arm's probably related to changes in his gait or changes in his mechanics due to the leg injury. So you don't really know where this is going to go. But I'd say you are at least happy with the fact that he was able to throw the volume that he was able to throw just recently.
Exactly. So call me crazy, but I'm encouraged by this, Coach. And I understand there is reasons to be pessimistic about it. He got pulled out of practice. He hasn't dressed. We're had to take count of pre-game snaps rather than in-game snaps. But here's the thing. Jerry Jones said no reason to worry. Dak Prescott says that would be no doubt that I would play against Tampa if we started. And I've got the actual numbers here. Michael Gehlken said he completed 51 of 52 passes. So that looks good for me. Now, I know that Nick wants him to get bounced around out there. But all the star quarterbacks aren't getting bounced around. Brady's had 1 drive in the preseason. Mahomes had 4. Rodgers, Josh Allen, and Lamar, none of them have a drive this preseason. So, Nick, I know you want to see him get bopped around, so maybe he can, get on a crowded subway or go to Six Flags and get on bumper cars. But for me, I'm okay with him sitting out for the whole preseason, show up at Tampa, and air it out.
Yeah, so I know this isn't a star quarterback, but I'll give you another name of a guy who I think it'd be good to get some reps. Joe Burrow. You know why? Because he had a devastating injury. Now, he was in a different part in his rehab. Those guys you mentioned, they're not coming off of 10 months of downtime where you do need, before you've got that Tampa D-line bearing down on you, ideally, some live action. But the other part of this that I think is it's very hard for me to understand how one can be encouraged is, let's just think about the little trickle of information and the sources of that information. First, you had Jay Glazer on, I think, the Hall of Fame broadcast say, hey, and the Cowboys, by the way, they've reached out to the Texas Rangers baseball team because they're a little flummoxed by Dak's injury. And it's like, oh, that's not great. And then I'm watching Joe Buck, newly minted Hall of Famer Joe Buck, with fellow Hall of Famer Troy Aikman, and Troy's like, hey, you know the Dallas Cowboys? I have a little history with them. Won 3 Super Bowls, played a decade, Hall of Famer for playing quarterback. Actually, I think they're being lying about about Dak's injury. He maybe didn't say it in those words, but he implied it. He was like, the Cowboys, I think maybe it's a little worse than we heard. And then you have Schefter, pretty, reputable reporter, be like, hey, guys, by the way, all year long he's going to be dealing with it. Like, week 1, yes, week 17 also, and everything in between. It's like, oh, Jay Glazer, Adam Schefter, and the Hall of Fame quarterback of the Cowboys have all said, guys, you should be worried about this. So, listen, I might have been on a beach somewhere drinking Mai Tais, but I'm like, hey, seems a little concerning, Coach. Like, I'd be a little worried if your uncle, your wife, and Bill Belichick were all like, hey, Coach Mangini, going through something, maybe check on him. Be like, hey, Coach, how are you doing, buddy? I've heard from reputable sources there could be a problem. So I'm a little worried about Dak.
Look, there's reason to be concerned, but the good news is that he is throwing with volume, and there is time, and they do have this period where they can keep him down, and I'm more concerned about how he's going to react in live action to the leg injury, and you have to go through that process. All the guys that you talked about, Wilds, weren't coming off major injuries, and this is a situation where it's hard. It's hard to get your body to react in that moment after coming back from something as traumatic as it is, and it takes time to adjust to that. So I'm concerned about that aspect of it. In terms of the arm injury, I do believe that it can be managed. Reaching out to baseball teams, that's not that uncommon. You want to get as much advice as you can when you're dealing with any injury. Did I love that it was on Hard Knocks? Did I love that they were sharing that? No, not necessarily, but that seems to be the Cowboys' way anyways. They they'll share those things, but it's not. We're not at an emergency level of concern right now. It's just mild Cowboy concern.
Yeah.
And plus, maybe Jerry Jones is in denial, but he seems to think if the season started tonight, Dak would be ready to go. So he's got the utmost confidence in his quarterback. Much more on this still to come on the broadcast. But before we go to break, we do want to wish our friend and our colleague, Brandon Marshall, good luck. He's got some big upcoming projects that he is now heading off to work on. We had an absolute blast working with him for the past year, but he is moving on, and we are going to miss him, Kevin Wildes. I know you are too.
Yeah, so I want to say a few words here. First of all, love Brandon.